Architecture is, you have to think of it almost like frozen music. It operates a lot like music. It's not, it's very hard to kind of put into words, but you can describe it in feeling. You just happen to walk into some amazing space and it takes your breath away. You turn a corner in the city and wow, you discover something amazing. It's and go to a beautiful national park and you see an incredible view.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pro Show. I'm your host, Erika, and today I'm excited to be joined by Kevin Kennon, who's been crushing it in the architecture space. It's awesome to have you here today, Kevin.
Thank you, Erica. It's a pleasure to be here.
So our listeners are going to be in for a treat with all your design expertise and know-how. So let's jump on in. For our listeners who aren't familiar with your world, give us the rundown. What was your journey like into real estate and architecture?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Southern California, right near Los Angeles, in a relatively rural area, right on the water. It was just sort of right on top of a giant cliff, um, and which is now slowly sliding into the water. But it wasn't when I was there. It was a kind of beautiful place to be. I went to the East Coast for college and graduate school and ended up in New York City. And I've been in New York City since 1984. Um, I guess I really fell in love with architecture when I moved to the city for the first time, and got very interested in that. But also, I think growing up too, I was always very interested in all these incredible houses and around Los Angeles that were always built in these kind of precarious ways, sort of hanging off cliffs and things like that. And I just always felt that connection between nature and building and people. And it's never left me. I find myself at a more mature part of my career, and that's all I think about.
Yeah, that's really cool. And when it comes to the architecture, what's your main focus these days in types of the projects that you're working with and the markets?
Well, so most of my career, I was developing and designing tall buildings and large, what we call mixed use complexes, both here in the city and around the world, and on the West Coast, and also various places in the U.S. But just about anywhere you can think of, I certainly at least proposed some sort of building. And now, what I'm really focused on are designing and we're developing a new type of uh, ultra luxury, small hotels in the wilderness. Really on the edge. We designed something that I think is really quite exciting, that can be replicated.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Almost on any site in England. The farther afield, the better. It comes with its own challenges and problems, but we think that we've got something that's quite unique, and is really geared towards what we see are developments now in the marketplace, with people traveling in groups, families, and in groups, and looking for travel experiences that are more social, oriented and safe.
That is really cool and unique. What's it been like building something that really isn't out there yet? It's gotta be exciting, but, you know, it's, what's it like doing something that, not everyone's done before? So then when it comes to getting advice or that, there's not a lot of people that have done it.
Well, my whole career is that, in a nutshell, and just give you the perfect soundbite. I'm going to have to repeat that, but yes, it's always about coming up with something that no one has seen before or experienced before. And I don't know why, but I seem to have an ability to convince people that this is something cool and something that is worthwhile and investing in. Um, and but it really comes, I think, from a place of collaboration. I'm not despite what a lot of people sort of get the impression about architects as, and the long impression from movies like The Brutalist, if anybody saw that. Um, we're not sort of, artistic loners who sort of demand everything happens, our way or the highway. For the most part, most of us are skilled listeners and collaborators. And we, I would say my greatest skill is providing a vision that's shaped by my client's desires, and then imparting that vision on, in many cases, thousands of people who are involved in the process of realizing this particular design. So for me, the greatest, I would say, benefit from what I do is to hear other people take ownership of this project that they're engaged in. Get that kind of feedback, all the way from the guy who just, hammers the nails on the site. Pride of ownership and, pride in building something, and something that is unique and special. That for me has always been the greatest, I guess, uh, thrill that I get from what I do.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And with that innovation, you still have to have a sense of, practicality, and there's also budgets to keep in mind.
So,
How do you juggle all of that?
well, I happen to be kind of a nerd, so data is something that I always am interested in. Um, I guess because I come from a practical background and, trained as it's called a commercial architect. We were always having to meet, you know, schedules and budgets. And then I'm also adept at sort of developing those as well. So, yeah, it is a practical, yeah, we're not artists, I mean, it's just a kind of another misconception. we deal in practicalities. Architecture is reality. It's not just images, and despite what you can see generated by AI these days. It's
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
it's ultimately something that has to be put together, built, and understanding those practical realities is I think just as important as dreaming up something that is sort of cutting edge or visionary, purely visionary. So you have to do both. Yeah, and you have to be able to modify that vision to the practical realities, time, budget, materials, uh, the capabilities of being able to achieve what it is that you are trying to achieve. It only gets better. And that's the other part of my experience is that generally looking back on it, the times that, we've had to make changes or I've had to make changes to that vision, it only improves it. It doesn't, hardly ever detracts.
That's really awesome. Kevin, with the innovation, how do you stay inspired all the time? Like what do you do to get inspiration with your design?
It's a great question. And I guess my answer is a lot of times people will ask me this kind of the same question. They'll say, "Oh, well, what's your favorite building?" And the way I answer is I have lots of favorite buildings, but I don't really focus on that as much as I focus on cities. And what I like about cities is um, I don't go there to see the architecture. That's not my primary goal. My primary is just to go there and live there, and try and feel like I'm actually living there. So I watch people a lot. I watch how people interact and how they the things that annoy them as much as the things that they enjoy. Um, and so it's human interaction in their environment, I would have to say, is core to my inspiration.
Wow, that's really interesting. I was not expecting that, but that makes sense on so many levels.
Yeah. Well, architecture is, you have to think of it almost like frozen music is one of the best descriptions I've had. It's
Hmm.
it operates a lot like music. It's not, it's very hard to kind of put into words, but you can describe it in feelings. Um, if you go to someplace and you just happen to walk into some amazing space and it takes your breath away, or, someplace you turn a corner in the city and wow, you discover something amazing. It's akin to that, and frankly, it's akin if you go into the wilderness and go to a beautiful national park and you see an incredible view somewhere. It's a lot like that as well. So I like to help people think about architecture less like buildings, um, less like objects, and more like landscapes. So and to me, a city is just another kind of landscape. It's got plateaus and vistas and nooks and crannies and um, all that stuff. And you just, kind of imagine yourself happening to be in that, say Yosemite, but you're actually in Times Square. So that for me is how I can describe what I do to people that I feel needs resonance without having to use a lot of jargon and architecture speak and all that kind of stuff that tends to mystify what we do. And I don't think that really serves us very well.
So, with your experience and doing innovative things, I feel like your answer might be kind of interesting. But
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
what do you see going on with trends in architecture and design, and how is that shaping the industry or influencing what you do?
Well, I would say the biggest trend that I'm seeing, not just in architecture, but in engineering as well, and is there's a movement in everything we do actually towards being able to give individuals more control over their environment. So, environmental control at the office, environmental control, just like in your car, you have a lot of control over, you know, um, when we're driving together in our car, there's usually a kind of someone likes it colder and someone likes it hotter and someone likes, the air breathing on them and some don't, you have that kind of close control. That's also happening in architecture and engineering. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue to happen. So giving people more control over their environment is, I think, a huge driver in what people do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see where, that would make any property more appealing to have that customization too.
Yeah. And especially in the hospitality sector, that's a big driver right now.
Mhm. And for my next question, maybe it can be related to hospitality. Maybe it's something else that you've designed. But I'm sure, as you know, every pro has a moment where things got real. Maybe a project hit a snag or a client threw you a curveball. Can you share one of those moments on your journey, Kevin, and how you navigated that?
uh, let's see. Well, I work for some very well-known people, and I don't like to talk about it. So just because, yeah, it's really not something I do. But I will say that there's plenty of time, and I think this is true. Every architect, every builder, every designer, where a project just falls apart. Um, Usually happens too, but the money is gone, and something happens on the project that's catastrophic. Um, so yeah, I've had a few projects like that have done that, but what's interesting is they've always led to something else. So it's important in our business to just understand that every experience that you have is essentially just another step on a journey, and that I urge people out there who might be struggling with, either projects that are getting delayed or maybe falling apart, that just understand that you learned something in that process, and if you just look at that as everything is a learning experience that can be applied to your next project, it's always worth it in the end, almost so.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not gonna say it right, but there's some sort of quote about like you never lose, like you only learn.
I think, yeah, that's a good, well, whatever you just said it, I think that's a great way to say it, Erica. So, you know, um, yeah, I just think that it's a question of resilience, I would say, and support. It helps to have a really good network of people you work with that, that you are kind of in the trenches with, And then you just maintain that, those relationships in your career and the people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because, like, that was what I was gonna talk about is relationships and networking next. So for, when you're in the trenches or, maybe it's not the trenches, but, those people that you're close with, what kind of networking or, groups have had an impact on you when it comes to your growth?
Well, I say lately, I would say podcasting. I mean, podcasting is a phenomenal medium
Mhm.
because, and if I listen to podcasts a lot, and I'm sure you do too, because you have one. But it's amazing what you can hear from people. We just listened to a podcast. It was Mark Maron podcast with Robin Williams. It was like one of the last interviews that he did. It was an extraordinary podcast just because you saw a side of people that you have an image of that you just couldn't get any other way. Um, and so, but it's the same thing in terms of people that you've worked with for a long time. You spent hours on a plane together. You had to hang out with them at a dinner or, having drinks after, some particularly difficult experience. And you just remember those things, and that support that you get um, as a result of that and the relationships that you build when you're going through, both projects that are going well and projects that are, having difficulty.
Kevin, what's next on the horizon for you? You talked a little bit about the hospitality, but can you go into more detail with that, or maybe
Yeah.
there's something else you haven't shared yet?
No, I'm really focused on that. I mean, but I continue to do some consulting, and I love talking to people, regardless, just about on anything. I like to say that I can help people solve problems before, after, and during construction. And if I can't help you, I certainly know the right people who can. So anybody out there, if you want to get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help you in some capacity, at least, to identify perhaps the problem. That's usually the first step is able to sort of talk about it, because anybody's out there trying to build something, it's extremely painful. And for a lot of people, it's one of the most painful experiences they can go through. Um, and, sometimes just having a little outside counsel is useful. Well, I call it design therapy, but, you know, that's what I like to do too.
That. Well, Kevin, before we let you go, if someone wants to connect with you, learn more about what you're doing in the hospitality world, or maybe they do need consulting, what is the best way for them to reach you?
LinkedIn absolutely is the easiest way. So you can find my profile. Um, you won't find my profile under Kevin Kennon. That's Paul Kevin Kennon. That's my first name, and my parents call me Kevin, and it's has some challenges, throughout my career. But that's I go by Kevin, but my LinkedIn profile says Paul Kevin Kennon. You just look that up, and there's all my connections, and get in touch with me, DM me from there.
Fantastic. Well, I love that you're not just building projects, but you're making a real impact in the industry and are full of innovation and passion. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Erica, for having me. It's been a pleasure and an
For everyone tuning in, if you got value from this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the Real Estate Pro Show. We've got more episodes lined up with pros like Kevin who are shaping the real estate world. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.